It wasn't pretty, and sometimes it was downright ugly, but the Dallas Mavericks found themselves getting a win and clinching a playoff spot in the Western Conference playoffs after a 114-110 win over the Toronto Raptors. This is the Gray Area right here on Kevin Gray Sports. My name is Kevin Gray. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right there for all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. And you can find me on your home of the Dallas Cowboys and Texas Rangers, 105.3 The Fan. The Dallas Mavericks moved to a season-high 13 games above 500, finished the season 21-15 at home, 42-29 overall after that 114-110 win over a very shorthanded Toronto Raptor basketball team that only played 7 guys but was a scrappy bunch, including Malachi Flynn and Jalen Harris. Flynn himself had 26 points. Jalen Harris had 31 points, and they kept the Toronto Raptors in this game, a game that the Mavericks had no business being as tight as it was, continuing their unfortunate trend this season of playing down to competition. But 2 Josh Richardson free throws with 3.9 seconds left in the fourth quarter was able to seal it for the Mavericks, and now for the second consecutive year clinch a playoff spot in the NBA playoffs. And if the season were to end today, they would be staring down the barrel of another first-round matchup with, yes, the Los Angeles Clippers. They took a surprising loss to the Houston Rockets on Friday night, which now has them currently in the 4th seed in the Western Conference. Meanwhile, the Dallas Mavericks are the 5th seed. If the Mavericks win on Sunday against the Minnesota Timberwolves, they will clinch the 5th seed in this year's Western Conference playoffs. The Dallas Mavericks are a full game ahead of the Portland Trail Blazers as they now move to 27-0 this season when leading after the first quarter. The Dallas Mavericks had 5 guys in double figures, including Luka Doncic, who had 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 11 assists. Kristaps Porzingis had a double-double with 21 points and 10 rebounds. Dorian Finney-Smith also had 17 points. He was terrific, especially in the fourth quarter. Jalen Brunson was spectacular all game long. He went 8 of 11 from the field with 19 points. The Dallas Mavericks now can breathe a sigh of relief knowing that they are locked in to the Western Conference playoffs and avoid the dreaded play-in. And now they will be able to have a week off before the NBA playoffs start by avoiding the play-in tournament. So obviously a game now where the Mavericks now move their record in their last 48 games to 33-15 on the season, get their most important win of the year because now they are officially in the NBA playoffs and avoid the dreaded play-in tournament. And now we'll watch as things unfold after their game on Sunday to see who officially they will be playing, whether or not it will be the Denver Nuggets or the Los Angeles Clippers, who they both won the season series against 2-1 over the Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. I asked Luka Doncic after the game what was the significance of being able to clinch a playoff spot, knowing what this team has been through this season and now finding themselves firmly in the Western Conference playoffs. Here's what Luka Doncic had to say. Luka, can you talk about the significance of clinching a playoff spot tonight? Obviously, being able to get this win against the Raptors and now avoiding the play-in tournament as you look forward for the rest of this season.
I mean, that's great. Obviously, I think I remember, that tough stretch when we were like 12 or 13 spot. Everybody had us off playoff, but now we made the playoff, and it's good. We're gonna have a couple of days off, and that's what we needed.
So Luka Doncic saying, look, this means that we get a couple of days off, obviously, with not being in the play-in tournament. And after what we have been through this season, where we started off 9-14 on the year, was 14th in the Western Conference, at one point losing 10 of 13 games, to now have won 33 of your last 48 games and now be in this position where you are firmly in the Western Conference playoffs. It has been a up and down roller coaster season for this team, but now they culminated with officially capping themselves into the Western Conference playoffs. The Mavericks shot 56% from downtown in the first quarter. Jalen Brunson was fantastic. He had 7 points on 3 of 3 from the field. Dorian Finney-Smith and Kristaps Porzingis both had 5 points, while Doncic had 4 points to start off in the first quarter. Kristaps Porzingis ended the second quarter for the Mavericks with a three-pointer to give him 15 points along with 6 rebounds in the first half. The Mavericks ended that second quarter on a 24-13 run in the final 7 minutes and 59 seconds to lead by 14 at the half. They shot 54% from the field, or 54% from the three-point line, I should say, in the first half. They did outscore the Raptors bench by 20, 32-12 in that first half. Jalen Harris, though, was spectacular for the Raptors all night long. He had 17 first-half points. Jalen Brunson was really good in the first half, also 6 of 6 from the field, 3 of 3 from downtown with 15 first-half points for the Mavericks. You give the Raptors a lot of credit, though. They stuck around in this game. Jalen Harris had 12 points in the third quarter, while the Mavericks only shot 35% from the field, allowing the Raptors to climb back in it by shooting over 50% from the field and from the three-point line. But the Raptors were down 9 still entering in the fourth quarter. This is despite the fact, though, that the Raptors outscored the Mavericks 58-48 in the second half. But as I mentioned earlier, Dorian Finney-Smith was huge in the fourth quarter. Luka Doncic had 8 points, and Josh Richardson sealed it with those 2 late free throws in the fourth quarter to give the Mavericks a 4-point win. As I mentioned, Jalen Brunson was really good in this game for the Mavericks, 19 points on 8 of 11 from the field. He was 3 of 4 from the three-point line. I asked Jalen Brunson after the game about the significance about clinching a playoff spot, given where this team was this season and how they struggled and what it means for him. Here is his answer after the game with respect to how he's feeling about this team now in the playoffs officially.
Hey, Jalen, after a 9-14 start, can you talk about the significance of being able to clinch a playoff spot now, knowing that you guys are going to be in the playoffs, what the season has meant for you guys?
It's awesome. Being able to clinch that, and especially the way we started out when it was rocky, but we had guys who knew what this team was capable of. We stuck together, we were able to keep fighting through, and just kept pushing, kept trying to get better, kept sticking together through the tough times.
So Jalen Brunson saying, look, it's awesome. It feels good knowing where we were. As I mentioned, 9-14, 14th in the Western Conference, losers of 10 of 13, but to deal with what they've dealt with all season long, with COVID, with injuries, and all the things that come in a compressed 72-game schedule with the amount of back-to-backs and the road travel and all the things that these players have been through this season, to now come out on the other side and officially be in the playoffs for a second consecutive year is a huge and massive accomplishment. And now they're looking to take the next step forward as they continue to try and build what they believe is their future here, especially around a 22-year-old superstar in Luka Doncic, who will be looking to obviously make a first or second All-NBA team this year, given how well he has played, a top 5 MVP candidate. When you go 33-15 over a 48-game span, you can't help but be in the MVP conversation, and he had a triple-double to boot. Not necessarily a great shooting night for Doncic, where he went 7 of 19 from the field, but he did everything else to help this Mavericks team get a win, an ugly win at that, but more importantly, lock themselves into the playoffs. Kristaps Porzingis, as I mentioned, 21 points and 10 rebounds in this game. He was 9 of 19 from the field. I asked Coach Rick Carlisle after the game about how he felt about Kristaps Porzingis' performance after playing in his second consecutive game after missing the previous 7 with right knee soreness. Here is what Rick Carlisle had to say about Kristaps Porzingis' performance after the game.
Rick, Kristaps Porzingis with 21 and 10 tonight. How did you feel about how he was moving on both ends of the floor with his second game back after missing the previous 7?
He was very good tonight. He hit open shots. You know, he moved the ball extremely well. He rebounded. He didn't have any block shots on the score sheet, but you know, he was a guy that I think he changed a few shots around the basket and influenced some rebounds in our favor. So, you know, he did a lot of very positive things. We're very fortunate to have him back these last 2 games. You know, it'd be very tough to win without him.
So Rick Carlisle saying he felt that Kristaps Porzingis moved well in the game on both ends of the floor. While he did not have any block shots, he did feel like he was able to alter some shots and alter some rebounds to be able to get some extra possessions for the Dallas Mavericks. And it's important, and what you heard from him at the end of that clip, is that they know that they can't go where they want to go and win without Kristaps Porzingis being in the lineup, which is obviously the biggest question when you go into the playoffs, but more importantly, even more big of a reason why you wanted to lock yourself into the playoffs and avoid the play-in tournament. You get that extra week of rest off to allow Porzingis to continue to rest his body and get himself into optimum shape to be able for a playoff run where you could be looking at another first-round matchup against the Los Angeles Clippers. You remember what he did in the bubble last year against the Los Angeles Clippers, remembering that game 3 that he had where he had 34 points and 13 rebounds, all while playing what we now know was on a torn meniscus in that series before missing the final 3 games of that series. The Mavericks know that they cannot go where they want to go unless Kristaps Porzingis is healthy and ready to play. While you want him to be a little bit better on the defensive end, Luka Doncic also the same, where guys like Jalen Harris and Malachi Flynn at times were cooking Luka Doncic, especially in pick-and-roll situations. It's going to be important for this team to refocus to not only get a win on the road on Sunday against the Minnesota Timberwolves, but more importantly, lock themselves in defensively against 2 offensively talented teams in the Clippers and or the Nuggets when you have an opportunity to take on one of those teams in the Western Conference playoffs. But more importantly, for a second consecutive year, this team is in the NBA playoffs and more importantly avoids the play-in tournament, which we had heard from Luka Doncic, we had heard from Mark Cuban earlier in this year. They weren't feeling the idea of necessarily being in the playoffs, in the play-in tournament. But now they can breathe a sigh of relief knowing they will actually avoid that tournament. Jalen Brunson, captain of the Stay Ready All-Stars, continues to do his thing and did so once again tonight. Yeah, I know. Tim Hardaway wasn't good. Josh Richardson, he wasn't very good either. You'll give him a pass, especially Tim Hardaway on this night after the way that he has carried himself over the last 8 games, averaging over 27 points and shooting over 50% from the field and from the three-point line. I'll run him a pass for the game that he had in this game where he only had 7 points and was 1 of 11 from the field. We'll let it go for this game. But more importantly now, 42-29 with 1 game left in this season, or 41-29, I should say. You got 1 more to go before you can win another one. 41-29 on the season for the Dallas Mavericks, and now put themselves in position moving forward at 42-29. I promise I get it right. 42-29 on the season with 1 game left. We will see how the Dallas Mavericks move forward as they are now a season-high 13 games above 500 moving forward after 71 basketball games. I promise you I can do math. 42-29 now in the rest of this season. The Dallas Mavericks get a 114-110 win over the Toronto Raptors. They finish their season on Sunday, the regular season finale against the Minnesota Timberwolves, where they will look to finish at 43-29 on the season to assure themselves a 5th seed in the Western Conference. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. And again, you can catch me on your home with the Dallas Cowboys and Texas Rangers, 105.3 The Fan. This has been another episode of The Gray Area. We'll talk to you later. Peace.